My name is Renee Ashford. I'm 32 years old. 6 weeks ago, I was scrolling through my mother's Facebook page when I saw something that made me pull over to the side of the road. It was the family portrait, the one we'd all taken together at Easter. 42 people, 3 generations of Ashfords, everyone in matching navy blue. Except I wasn't in it. I'd been there. I'd stood in the second row between my cousin Tara and my Uncle Bill. I'd smiled for the camera. I'd paid my portion of the photographer's fee. But in the version my mother posted, the version she captioned, "The Ashford Family, Easter 2025, Everyone Who Matters," I was gone. In my place stood Olivia, my sister Danielle's 7-year-old stepdaughter, a child who'd joined the family 4 months earlier when Danielle married her husband, Greg. My mother had the photographer digitally remove me from the family photo and replace me with a child who hadn't even been at the shoot. Then she posted it for 300 people to see with the caption, "Everyone Who Matters." I called her, hands shaking, voice barely steady. "Mom, why am I not in the family photo?" She sighed like I was being exhausting. "Renee, don't start. Olivia is part of the family now and she wasn't available for the shoot. We needed to include her. You understand." "By removing me?" "There wasn't room. The framing was tight. It was either you or Aunt June, and Aunt June is 83. I couldn't speak. But what my mother didn't know was that the photographer, a woman named Sonia Delgado, who'd been shooting the Ashford portraits for 11 years, had kept the original. And what she did with it would expose a pattern my family had been hiding in plain sight for over a decade. Before I tell you what Sonia did, please like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy this story. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? I'd love to hear from you. Now, let me take you back to where this really began. Growing up in Augusta, Georgia, I was the oldest of 3 kids. My parents, Gary and Lorraine Ashford, were well known in the community. Dad owned an insurance agency. Mom ran the PTA, organized the church bazaar, chaired the neighborhood association. Image was everything to them. The Ashfords were supposed to look perfect. And for my parents, perfect meant Danielle. Danielle was 2 years younger than me, and from the time she could talk, she had a gift for being exactly what my parents wanted. She was photogenic, charming, always said the right thing to the right person at the right time. She was their showcase daughter, the one they put forward at every event, every holiday card, every introduction. Then there was my brother Tyler, 4 years younger than me, quiet, agreeable, stayed out of the way. He learned early to be invisible, and my parents rewarded him for it with benign neglect. And me? I was the problem. Not because I caused trouble, but because I existed in a way my mother couldn't control. I was too opinionated, too direct, too unwilling to perform the version of myself she wanted. When I was 15, I won a full scholarship to a summer journalism program at Emory University. Competitive, prestigious, only 30 students selected from the entire Southeast. I came home with the acceptance letter, breathless. Mom read it, handed it back. "That's the same week as Danielle's pageant in Savannah. We need you there to help with her wardrobe changes." I went to the pageant. I ironed Danielle's dresses while 30 kids in Atlanta learned to be journalists. I told myself it was fine. There would be other programs. At 21, I graduated from the University of Georgia with a journalism degree. Double major, English and Media Studies, 3.8 GPA. My parents attended the ceremony. Dad filmed the whole thing, but the camera was on Danielle, who was in the audience, because she'd just announced she was applying to nursing school, and Mom wanted to capture her reaction to inspiration. I have a 6-minute video of my college graduation. I appear in it for 11 seconds. Danielle is in it for 4.5 minutes. I told myself they were just excited about Danielle's future. My degree was done. Hers was beginning. 3 years later, I landed my first real reporting job at a mid-market television station in Raleigh. I called home thrilled. "Mom, I'm going to be a reporter. On actual television." "That's nice, Renee. Listen, Danielle needs a co-signer on her apartment lease. Your father and I already have too many things in our name. Could you? Mom, I just told you I got my dream job. And I heard you. Congratulations. Now, about the lease. I co-signed the lease. Danielle broke it 8 months later. It cost me $3,200 in penalties and damaged my credit score by 47 points. My parents never acknowledged it. When I brought it up at Thanksgiving, Dad said, "Family helps family, Renee. Don't keep score." But someone was keeping score, and it wasn't me yet. After the family photo incident, I didn't leave my apartment for 2 days. I called in sick to work. I sat on my couch and stared at that Facebook post until the image burned into my brain. Everyone who matters. I thought about every holiday, every event, every family gathering where I'd shown up, participated, smiled for the camera, and then been sidelined the moment Danielle needed something. I thought about the years of being told I was too sensitive when I noticed the pattern and too dramatic when I named it. I opened a spreadsheet on my laptop. I'd never done this before, but something in me had shifted. I started listing everything. The journalism program I missed, value of the scholarship, $4,500. Co-signing Danielle's lease, $3,200 in penalties, plus 6 months of credit damage that raised my interest rates. Danielle's wedding last December, which my parents funded entirely, $38,000. My wedding 4 years ago, which my parents contributed $2,000 to, then asked for $800 back 2 months later because of a tax situation. Birthday gifts over the last 10 years. Danielle received an average of $500 per birthday, including a $3,000 weekend trip to Charleston for her 30th. I received an average of $75, usually a gift card to a store I'd never mentioned shopping at. The numbers were right there, plain as daylight, once I finally let myself look. But the real revelation came from Sonia. Sonia Delgado had been photographing the Ashford family since I was 21. She'd shot every Easter portrait, every Christmas card, every milestone event for over a decade. She was professional, kind, and observant in the way photographers tend to be. She saw things through the lens that other people missed. 3 days after the Facebook post, I got a message from her. "Renee, I saw the photo your mother posted. I need you to know, she asked me to edit you out and composite Olivia in. I did it because she's the client and she paid for the session. But I've been thinking about it since and it doesn't sit right with me. I kept the original file, all the originals from every year. I want you to have them." I called her immediately. "Sonia, what do you mean all the originals?" "Renee, this wasn't the first time." My blood went cold. 3 years ago, Sonia continued, your mother had me crop you out of the Christmas card photo. She said it was a framing issue. 2 years before that, she had me retouch a family portrait to make Danielle more centered, which meant pushing you to the edge where you were partially cut off. And last year, she asked me to send her 2 versions of the Easter photo. One with you, one without. One without me? Why? She said she wanted options for different frames. But Renee, she only ever used the one without you. It's the one hanging in their hallway right now. I sat on my kitchen floor for a long time after that call. 11 years of family portraits. And my mother had been systematically editing me out, replacing me, cropping me to the margins, literally, for at least 5 of them. Sonia sent me everything. A USB drive arrived 2 days later with every original file, every edit request, and every email my mother had sent with specific instructions. One email, from December 2022, read, "Can you remove Renee from the left side and shift Danielle's family to center? I want the focus on the newer generation." The newer generation. As if I wasn't part of it. Another email from Easter 2024. "Please send a version without Renee. She wore the wrong shade of navy and it throws off the aesthetic." I wore the exact shade she'd specified in the family group chat. I checked. For 2 weeks after receiving that USB drive, I moved through my life in a fog. I went to work, filed my stories, smiled on camera. At night, I sat in my apartment and looked at 11 years of family photos side by side, the originals with me in them, and the versions my mother distributed to the world. In the originals, I'm smiling. I'm present. I'm part of the family. In my mother's versions, I'm a ghost. Cropped out, replaced, erased. My friend and colleague Dana noticed something was off. She found me crying in the edit bay one evening after everyone else had left. "Renee, what's going on?" I showed her the photos, the emails, the spreadsheet, all of it. Dana stared at the screen for a full minute. Then she said something that changed everything. "Renee, you're a journalist. You investigate things. You find truth and you present it. Why are you treating your own story like it doesn't deserve the same effort?" She was right. "Your family reunion is in July," Dana said. 80 people, right? That's your audience. And you have 11 years of evidence. The question isn't whether you should say something. The question is whether you're ready to. I spent the next month preparing. I wasn't building a case for revenge. I was building a case for the truth. There's a difference. Revenge wants to hurt. Truth just wants to be seen. I made prints. Side-by-side comparisons. The originals and the edited versions, dated and labeled. I printed my mother's emails to Sonia. I organized everything into a simple, clean presentation, the way I'd organize any story for the news desk. And I reached out to Sonia one more time. "Would you be willing to come to the reunion? Not to cause trouble, just to be there if anyone questions whether the photos are real." "Renee, I've felt guilty about those edits for years. I'll be there." The Ashford family reunion was held at my parents' lake house the second Saturday in July. 83 people. Aunts, uncles, cousins, second cousins, family friends who'd been coming so long they were basically honorary Ashfords. Catered barbecue, a bounce house for the kids, a live bluegrass band on the deck. My parents' lake house was beautiful. 4 bedrooms, wraparound porch, dock with a pontoon boat. They'd bought it 6 years ago for $340,000. I know because Dad mentioned the price at least once per visit, like he was reading a real estate listing to anyone who'd listen. I arrived at noon with my husband Joel. Joel knew everything. He'd helped me organize the photos. He'd held me while I cried over the emails. He'd said, "You don't have to do this if you're not ready." And then when I told him I was ready, he said, "Then I'm right beside you." Danielle was already there, of course, front and center on the porch with Greg and Olivia. Mom was fussing over Olivia's dress, adjusting her bow, taking pictures on her phone. The child was sweet. None of this was her fault, and I'd never once felt anger toward her. She was 7. She didn't choose any of this. Mom greeted me with her public smile, the wide one she used when other people were watching. "Renee, so glad you came. You look thin. Are you eating?" "I'm fine, Mom." "Joel?" She nodded at my husband the way you'd nod at a delivery driver. "There's food by the lake." We settled in. I waited until after the barbecue, after the kids had cake, after the family game of cornhole that Danielle won because Tyler let her. I waited until people were relaxed, full, and paying attention. Then I stood up on the porch and asked for everyone's attention. Mom's head snapped toward me. She knew. I could see it in her eyes. She didn't know what I was going to say, but she sensed something shifting. "I want to show everyone something," I said. "Most of you have seen the Ashford family portraits that get posted every year. They hang in Mom and Dad's hallway. They go out on Christmas cards. They're beautiful, but they're not complete." I set up the display I'd brought, a portable easel with printed photos, large enough for people to see from the lawn. "This is the original Easter portrait from this year." I pointed to the first photo. 42 people. Me in the second row, right where I'd stood. "And this is the version my mother posted on Facebook." I placed the second photo beside it. Same portrait, but where I'd been standing, there was now a 7-year-old girl who hadn't been at the shoot. The murmur started immediately. Mom asked the photographer to digitally remove me and replace me with Olivia. The caption on Facebook read, Everyone who matters. Aunt June, 83 years old, sharp as a blade, said loudly, "Lorraine, is that true?" Mom stood up from her chair. "This is ridiculous. It was a framing issue. Olivia needed to be included." "By removing your own daughter?" Uncle Bill said. He was looking at the photos with his reading glasses pushed up on his forehead. "Lorraine, that girl was in the picture. I was standing right next to her." "This wasn't the first time," I continued. I placed 3 more pairs of photos on the easel. Christmas 2022, I was cropped out. Easter 2024, my mother requested a version without me. The Christmas card from 2023, I was removed entirely and the gap was filled by shifting Danielle's family to the center. I held up the printed emails. These are the photographer's records, specific edit requests, dates, and instructions from Mom. In one email she wrote, "Remove Renee from the left side. I want the focus on the newer generation." The lawn had gone completely silent. 83 people, and you could hear the lake lapping against the dock. Danielle stood up. "Renee, you're making a scene. Mom was just trying to make the photos look nice." "By erasing me? You're overreacting, it's just a photo." Sonia stepped forward from the edge of the group. She'd been standing near the band, quiet until now. "It's not just a photo. I've been your family's photographer for 11 years. In that time, your mother made 5 separate requests to remove, crop, or minimize Renee in official family portraits. I have records of every request. I fulfilled them because she was the client, but I kept the originals because it never felt right." She looked at my mother. "Lorraine, I like you. But what you did to your daughter in those photos, that's not editing. That's erasure." Aunt June stood up from her lawn chair slowly, the way 83-year-olds do when they mean business. "Lorraine, I have been in that family portrait for 31 years. If you ever edit my granddaughter out of another one, you will lose me too. And I mean that." Uncle Bill nodded. "Same here." Cousin Tara, who'd been standing next to me in the original photo, walked over and looked at the edited version. "She literally put a child's face where mine and Renee's shoulders were. That's not editing, that's insane." Dad hadn't said a word. He was sitting in his Adirondack chair near the grill, staring at the grass. When I looked at him, he looked away. Mom was trembling. Not with sadness, with rage. Her public image, the one she'd spent decades curating, was unraveling on her own porch, at her own party, in front of her own family. "This is my home," she said, her voice tight. "And I won't be ambushed." "You erased your daughter from family photos for 5 years, Lorraine," Aunt June said. "You don't get to call yourself the victim." I gathered my display. Joel helped me fold the easel. "I didn't come here to humiliate you, Mom. I came here because I've spent my entire life being pushed to the edges of this family, and I finally have proof that it wasn't in my head. I'm not crazy. I'm not too sensitive. I was literally removed from the picture, and I deserve better than that." I looked at my father. "Dad, you filmed my entire college graduation and I'm in it for 11 seconds. Did you know Mom was editing me out of photos?" He didn't answer. His silence was answer enough. Joel and I walked to the car. Behind us, the reunion had fractured into clusters of people looking at the photos, talking in low voices, shaking their heads. Sonia caught up to me at the driveway. "Renee, I'm sorry I didn't say something sooner." "You said something when it mattered," I told her. "That's enough." As Joel started the car, I saw Aunt June standing on the porch, arms crossed, facing my mother. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but Mom was sitting down and Aunt June was not. I took a breath. Joel reached over and took my hand. "How do you feel?" "Like I exist," I said. "Finally." The aftermath came in waves. 13 family members reached out within the first week. Every single one said some version of the same thing. "I always felt like something was off. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." Aunt June called me personally. "Your grandmother, my sister, would have raised hell about this. I'm raising it for her. Mom didn't speak to me for 5 weeks. When she finally called, it wasn't an apology. It was a negotiation. Renee, people are talking. Can we just agree to move past this? Moving past it requires acknowledging what happened, Mom. I acknowledged it. I said the photos were a mistake. 5 years of deliberate editing isn't a mistake. It's a choice. And I need you to understand why it hurt before I can move forward. Long pause. Then, quietly, I don't know how to be what you need. It was the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. Start by not erasing me, I said, literally or otherwise. We're working on it, slowly. She hasn't posted a family photo since the reunion. She agreed to let Sonia share the originals with anyone who wants them. It's not forgiveness. Not yet. It's a foundation. Something honest to build on, which is more than we've had in 32 years. Danielle and I don't speak. She told Tyler I was unhinged for bringing the photos. Tyler, to his credit, texted me, "You're not unhinged. You're the only one who ever had the guts to say it." Dad mailed me a note last month. 3 sentences. I should have paid more attention. I should have spoken up. I'm sorry about the graduation video. It's not much, but it's the first time my father has ever apologized to me for anything. Today, Joel and I are expecting our first child, a boy, due in November. When I think about family photos now, I think about the ones we'll take ourselves, the real ones, where everyone is included because everyone matters. Sonia offered to photograph our family portraits, free of charge. The originals, she said. No edits, no removals, just the truth. I said yes. If you're watching this and your family has made you feel invisible, edited out of the picture in ways big or small, I want you to know something. You are not too sensitive. You are not overreacting. If it hurts, it counts. And you deserve a frame where you're not just included but centered. Your presence matters. Don't let anyone crop you out of your own story. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Have you ever discovered something about how your family treated you that changed the way you saw everything? What was that moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, remember, you belong in the picture, the whole picture. No edits needed.